As quite the amateur hobby jogger, I like to run, like a lot. But every now and then I find myself asking this question: is running long distances actually good for me? Are the marathons or ultramarathons that I'm planning to do actually a net positive for my health and well-being? So when I saw this article in the New York Times come out last fall called "Are Marathons and Extreme Running Linked to Colon Cancer?", I doubled back a little. This New York Times article presented the findings of an oncologist named Dr. Timothy Cannon, who saw something unusual. In a relatively short span of time, Dr. Cannon saw 3 patients come in who were in advanced stages of colon cancer. The unusual thing was that all of these patients were relatively young and didn't have commonly associated risk factors for their colon cancer. The one feature that they did share: they were all chronic long-distance runners. 2 of these patients were ultramarathoners who regularly did 100-mile ultramarathons, and the 3rd patient had done 13 half marathons in the last year. That is a lot of running.
About 2018 or 2019, I had 3 different long-distance runners, all of whom I would consider to be somewhat extreme runners. They had stage 4 colorectal cancer, all before the age of 40.
This observation is what led Dr. Cannon to conduct a study, which was published with some pretty surprising results. This study can basically be summarized with the finding that marathon and ultramarathon runners were observed to have close to 15 times the amount of advanced adenomas in their colon than baseline. Advanced adenomas are these tumors that can become cancerous. The sample size was 100 runners, median age of 42.5, and the baseline percentage for adenoma prevalence in a general population, not of runners, at roughly that age, in the 40s, is between 1 to 2%. So out of these 100 runners, 15 were found to have these advanced adenomas, way more than 1 to 2%. I've pulled up this study here. It's actually 1 page, which I was super appreciative of. And you can see in this table here the 15 runners, or ultramarathoners, where these advanced adenemas were found. So where does that leave me? What do I think, and am I cooked? Well, first off, with the caveat that I think that this is a very legit study, I do have to point out the small sample size. It was just 100 runners, and the fact that correlation is not causation. There's nothing in this study, because it's observational, that actually links colon cancer to ultra running. We can theorize about what the effect might be if there is one, and potentially what variables are at play, but ultimately, without testing these hypotheses, we cannot affirm a causal link. That said, I won't just disregard the study. It gives me a strong signal that I should pay attention to and care about my gut health, how I feel during a race, and importantly, not to ignore signs of gastrointestinal distress. Ultramarathoners can often be seen to have this attitude of gritting their teeth and pushing past a certain level of pain or discomfort, disregarding that. For example, disregarding having blood appear in their stool. And so this is a good reminder for me to not do that. In the end though, it's definitely not going to stop me from running marathons and ultras, and here's why. From my experience, the lifestyle of running that I've curated now is unquestionably better than the lifestyle I had before I started to run. That's just anecdotal, but there are studies that back this up too. This one, for example, concludes that regardless of race distance, endurance runners showed an optimal state of health, suggesting the notion that endurance running contributes beneficially to an increased level of health. Although marathons and ultramarathons are probably not the optimal race distance for health, ultimately I'm not looking for optimization. I'm willing to take risks in exchange for thrill and experience. And running long distances, well, it's basically like microdosing life. So I, for one, am going to stick with it, maybe proceed with a little bit more caution. But to answer the question, maybe I am more cooked than I was before, but ultimately, I'm not that cooked, and I'm going to continue running. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.